I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, March the 22nd, brought to you in part by Joplin Regional Stockyards. Got a good run this regular Monday sale, 6,000 head. Be starting early to get done at a good time there. Look at some sales they've got planned here in the near future. Special cow sale on April the 7th, which is a Wednesday. So they'll sell their regular slaughter cows and bulls and then have that later on in the day. And then the next day, on a Thursday, primetime livestock video sale will be on April the 8th. So put those down in your calendar, or if you want to consign some cattle to either one of those sales, get a hold of somebody there at Joplin Regional Stockyards. The meat out day backfires. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, and I can't imagine anybody that's watching this report on purpose that doesn't know, but the governor of Colorado, Governor Polis, had made a proclamation that March the 20th, which was Saturday, would be a meat out day, and encouraging people not to eat meat at all, and supposedly to help the environment of clean air or something like that. But I tell you what, he hit a nerve. You know, most of your people that are raising cattle in the cattle industry, in agriculture, animal agriculture in particular, pretty conservative, and they don't get too riled up and aren't really guys to get out and make a big splash about anything. But when you go to attacking them like that, then here they come. And I tell you what, if that thing didn't backfire, I mean, there was smoke going in backyards and in places all over Colorado, and it wasn't always, it wasn't altogether bong smoke like usual. It was people grilling in their backyards, and they just had all kinds of celebrations for a meat-in day. So they just kind of backfired on them. I know several people that I know of were having gatherings of some type, either public or private. They were promoting beef in particular, but promoting all sorts of meat. The Santa Maso family there, the Sale Barn family there in Colorado, had a big event in Sterling, Colorado. It was going to be well attended by politicians also. And Shad Sullivan had an event there in Ordway, Colorado. A lot of guys had some type of an event to celebrate meat in, and I think it way overshadowed anybody that was thinking about celebrating meat out. So, you know, those proclamations are mostly just supposed to be ceremonial type things, you know, to recognize a group or somebody that that did something outstanding or extraordinary. You don't go in there and try to use it to tell people how they should be living their lives or what they should be doing. And you know, and to hear the Governor Polis had a statement that come out asking him, well, what do you think? Everybody's getting so excited about meat in day rather than meat out day. And he said he was thrilled, you know, just typical politician. He was thrilled to celebrate agriculture in Colorado, and people were excited about the agriculture, animal agriculture industry and all these things. I mean, what a bunch of crap. But, you know, you don't go telling people how they should live. You know, Governor Polis himself, you know, lives kind of an alternative lifestyle. And, you know, truth be told, I bet a day rarely goes by that he doesn't have some kind of meat. So why should he be coming in telling people what they should be eating to you know, not eat meat on this certain day or do this certain day or do that? People don't want to be told what to do. And they sure don't want to be told with some kind of a ceremonial type proclamation. We've got other problems in Colorado. They've had a ballot initiative this past week that was against you know, animal husbandry practices, and saying that you know, that all animal agriculture should be able to live 25% of their natural lifespan. So you guys want to chew on leather for your meat protein? I don't think so. But you know, it would basically attack you know, our performance cattle more than anything. Attack the reproduction practices that we've done, which has improved our herd significantly. And I tell you what, you know, just people that don't have any idea of what it takes to put all this protein on the table, on people's plates. and they're coming in here and making these ballot initiatives, coming in, making proclamations, telling people all this stuff. I cannot wait till they get done with this study that Oregon State's doing, Western Justice is doing, Oregon Cattlemen's Association's involved in, where they're going to be coming out and saying likely cattle are really a negative when it comes to clean air and pollution due to air and CO2 runoff and things like that, because they do so much to graze off areas that otherwise might come with wildfires and things like that. And I've mentioned it before, but I didn't know that. But I guess whenever you have a lot of forage out there that kind of goes dormant, and at the end of the year and the fall of the year when it goes dormant, it puts off a lot of emission off too. If you keep that stuff ate off, then you don't have that. So likely cattle are a negative when it comes to emissions, and I don't know if that's a deal they want to attack or not, because I think it's going to end up coming back to bite them again, just kind of like this meat out day did with the meat in days. But congratulations to all those people in Colorado that cooked out, ate meat, especially beef, and we're proud for them. We're proud for our politicians in surrounding states, even up in Montana, but also in Iowa, Wyoming, places. They came out and said, hey, we support the beef industry, and we want you to eat meat and support our local producers, and that was a great thing. But what are we going to do with Colorado? I tell you what, it's just getting so far left out there, and I'm just going to put this out here now, and maybe we've got a little bit of time to get enough push behind, but I'm thinking John Campbell for governor. And he's the manager there at Winter Livestock in Lamona. He's very outspoken. He's very persuasive. He's kind of got this social media deal figured out, and he knows how to spread the word. And I like his conservative values. I like his ideas. And I think he could put some grit back into the politics in Colorado there. So I'm thinking we might as well start this push and give us plenty of time to push him to the top of the ballot box there. But you guys think about that. John Campbell for governor of Colorado. But what else went on this past week? We had some information come out that we're going to have some more kill space, and it may take a while, but it's just it's very encouraging going out. First, it's going to happen with national beef packers that own the Tama plant. Iowa Premium there have announced that they are going to expand that plant almost twice, I guess, as big as what it has been, adding a whole another shift there. But that's going to help a lot, and any times we can have more hooks to hang carcasses on, that's better. So we're enthusiastic about that, but really enthusiastic about the thought of another plant coming on in North Platte, Nebraska, going to be called Sustainable Beef. But rancher there, Rusty Kemp, has put a deal together, and man, he hasn't been messing around. He's got a bunch of heavy hitters. Most of them were former Cargill executives, so they probably see, how much money there is to be made, and they would kind of like to be in on the inside of a deal like that. But a $280 million investment into a plant there, a slaughter facility that might be harvesting as many as 400,000 head in a year, with 900 workers there. With the average salary of them being around $50,000 a year. Boy, you talk about a shot in the arm for a rural area of Nebraska there that could sure use something like that. So supposedly he's already got 75% of the $280 million committed by investors. And so that would be a great deal if we could get that going. They're not talking about being online until 2023, but one of the hardest things for them to get industrial sewage. It appears they've already got that taken care of, and got a plot of land that they're looking at. And boy, that would be great to get Sustainable Beef, a new packing company big enough to make a difference, coming online there in Nebraska, in central Nebraska. So we really hope that happens. But what about us guys in the southern plains? We don't hear of anything going course, we're so heavily concentrated by your big four packers. You know, we don't really have a whole lot of regional packing there. I guess you could call, you know, Creekstone there regional, but we need something down here in Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, southern part of or western part of Kansas, places like that to get something online now. Now there are several in some places, other places that are coming online. Missouri has got several plants that's come up. Now none of them going to be major like the sustainable beef plant there in North Platte, but one of them there in Missouri is going to be is already coming up to speed, and it's going good. The Herzog family near Butler, Missouri, they've got a facility, and it seems like just the other day they had come down here on a trip to visit the new packing plant, or the new abattoir. I don't know if you could call it a plant, but the kill floor at West Texas A&M University that they've been able to build along with their new ag department there, mostly funded by Cactus, by Engler money that's coming in, and that was a great deal. But also, you know, we've had some other interests there come in and donate money. Cavanagh Pack donated a bunch of money to help get the abattoir built there in Canyon at West Texas A&M, but the Herzog family come in, looked at that, we're getting ideas, and man, they've got that thing up in a hurry, and it looks like they're going to be up and running here pretty soon. You know, a lot of people that I know, I say a lot, I would say from a half a dozen to a dozen cattle people have gotten some kind of packing going, where they're harvesting their own cattle maybe in another facility, or they've purchased facilities, or went in partners with a locker plant and expanding it. I think it's going to make a lot of difference. I think it already has made a lot of difference. We just haven't noticed it yet. But you know, I was talking to a friend of mine right here in Amarillo that's in the planning stages and is already getting the building up, and he's going to be building a processing facility here in Amarillo. Not going to be a big deal, but they're going to offer retail home-raised beef right there, and I applaud him for doing that, and I think it's a good idea. And he was saying, you know, they've got the whole plan built up, and it sure looks like it's a going deal. And I think that more people should do that, because if we're excited about country of origin with our beef products, how can it be done any easier than processing it right there and you know, using homegrown cattle to put it in, so you don't have to worry about trying to push some kind of initiative that people are fighting back against. Just do it right there. You can get a label and sell your own, and people want to buy it. I tell you what, and I think that's a deal that, especially since the COVID come on, that could help us as we go forward. What else do I want to talk about? Cattle on Feed report come out on Friday, and man, was that a joke. It just gets so frustrating. You know, the National Ag Statistics Service has these models set up, and they just won't waver from them. You know, it's like, you know, back when you're in school in math or algebra, and you're working through some of these real complicated problems, and you neglect to look up and read the problem and say, well, that couldn't be, because that's not rational, that's not realistic. So they come in and said that our placements during the month of February were just almost the same as we had a year ago, and that was before we had the pandemic come out. So a year ago February, about over 98% of those. Now how in the hell could that be, whenever we had every sale barn basically in the country shut down for one full week, and a lot of them for 2 full weeks? And still, you know, I know there's a lot of cattle that move direct, but still that's where most of your cattle market through as feeders is in a sale barn. And we just had hardly anything moving, and we didn't have much direct cattle moving either. And you guys can try to rationalize it to me all you want, but when your auction receipts are down 70% for a week, there ain't no way you've moved over 98% of the cattle onto feed as you did during a normal month of the year. There's no way. And you know, it's just a joke. But they don't really care. You know, they put the cover up there, they put the drapes up in front of it, and then every month we have to unveil these numbers again and then wait to see how bad it's going to hurt the market. Well, why don't they just be more transparent about it and just release data as they come to it? Why do we have to pull the sheet back to look at it every month? It's just getting really old. And I'm frustrated with it. I know a lot of other people are frustrated with it. And about the time you think that nobody's paying attention to it, it'll tank the market. Now, actually, the cattle and feed report was not bearish. I mean, I'm going on like it was bearish. It was absolutely neutral. But still, because your average analyst guess, the analyst, they know that NASS is going to stick to those models and they're not going to move from them. Even though if you're rational and you look up, you know there was no way that 1.68 million cattle were placed on feed during February when we were completely shut down for 1 week and almost for 2 weeks. The biggest sale that we had that week in February, that middle week there, was in Nevada. That was the biggest sale barn receipts that we had that week were in Nevada. Now, granted, they had 8,000 head there, Nevada Livestock Marketing, but still, no Oklahoma City, no El Reno, no Joplin, no Springfield, no West Plains, no nowhere. No, there's no way that it happened. Now, they'll come back in with some type of revision, just like they did on the inventory report this year compared to a year ago. They just went in and slipped in, oh, sorry about that, we overstated those cattle numbers, 620,000 head. But they don't care. Most of them don't understand really what they're doing. I've met a lot, you know, I was with USDA a long time. I've met some of those NASS people there, and from what I could see, most of them didn't know the difference between shit and apple butter. But I tell you what, it's just getting so frustrating to have to put up with these reports all the time when they affect the market so much and people's livelihoods. Let's talk about your board for last week. April live cattle futures, Monday up 12 cents, Tuesday down 92, Wednesday up $1.22, Thursday down 85, Friday down 17 cents, and basically it ended a little bit lower for the week, down just 60 cents. But we see that these fancy prices we've been seeing on these futures markets, both cattle, live and feeder cattle, they're starting to back up to cash because it's apparent that there's no way that cash can run up and meet them. But 118.40 is where your April board ended the week, and like I said, it was down 60 cents. The premiums are going away that we've seen out front here, and as you start moving further out into the future, we see that our contracts were much lower. June live cattle ended the week 118.67, still higher than April, which is crazy, but down $1.75 for the week. Feeder cattle were more lower than that because they were just way overstated. Monday, March feeder cattle up 67 cents, Tuesday down 45, Wednesday up 35, Thursday down $1.40, and Friday down 85 cents. So it's just, you know, really, does it need to be up one day, down the next, up one day, down the next? You know, have the value of the cattle really changed that much? You know, they're just playing around with stuff. But March feeder cattle ended the week at 134.67, down $1.68 for the week. Now, as you get further out into the future where we've seen those big, handsome prices out there, and I hope you guys took my advice and either contracted, hedged, or did something to dally up to some of those far back month futures, especially if you're going to be turning cattle out this summer. But they're fading fast. April feeder cattle futures ended the week 139.42, down $3.80 for the week. How about fat cattle trade through Thursday, 63,300 head. Your prices on live steers and heifers, 113 to 116, but basically we're still dragging along with this 114 market for now 6 weeks or more. That's your weighted average on live steers in the 5-area feeding region through Thursday, 114.25. That's not likely to change much on the little dab of trade that we had on Friday. Dress sales steers and heifers 179 to 185, but mostly 180 to 182, and that was about $2 better. So because the previous week we were working mostly 178 to 180, but your weighted average on dress steers 181.28. Like I said, a little bit of trade on Friday. Iowa had about 1,000 head, 26,300 for the week. up through Thursday. Live price $1.14, dress price $179 to $182. Nebraska only about 800 head on Friday, 20,200 head for the week. Live sales 114, 114 and a half. Dress sales at 182. Kansas a couple of hundred heads all, only 12,800 head there for the week, and $1.14 was your price. Texas had very limited trade there and very light for the week, and their price was at $1.14. Colorado actually printed. There's been a little bit of activity in Colorado, about 900 head, 5,100 head for the week, and $1.14, 114 and a half was your price there. How about box beef cutout values? Drifted a little bit lower for the week as a whole, but we're higher than that ending the week. So they've likely went through that down slot, and they're going to be on the upswing now that we're officially into spring and we're working towards grilling season. But choice cuts, your weighted average on last week's complete movement was 227.75, down 23 cents, which is not too bad on the weighted average. Selects 218.50 was your weighted average, and down 292 compared to the weighted average from the previous week. But both of your late week cutout values were a little bit higher than your weighted averages, so and I assume they're going to be on the upswing, which could make your packers a little bit easier to trade with, and they might go ahead and let the market improve a little bit. But choice cuts right at 230 and selects about 220. Slaughter for the week, last week, fairly disappointing, 624,000, because we had a disappointing Saturday, only 65,000, and maybe it's because a lot of people were going to be celebrating the meat in day, and not the meat out day, but the meat in day on the 20th, but that's 624,000 compared to 647,000 the previous week, and 660,000 the same week a year ago. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction ended the week at 134.79, $1.51 higher than it ended previous week. So our markets were higher, and they got consistently higher as we got into the middle and late week. But let's look at some stick-out deals. Your cash feeders were sure $1 to $3 higher for the most part. And calves starting to get higher too. We're not seeing too many of the stalker type calf weight yearlings. Now, I was out in Fallon, Nevada on Thursday, and we still had a lot of them out there coming in from those desert pastures. But for the most part, we're not seeing them anymore. So a larger percentage of our light weights is being made up of new crop calves, fall-born calves. But we're starting to see that demand come in too. Some of your weekend warriors, your smaller farmers, and guys like that buying stuff to turn out this summer. Now the ones that were buying for the vast pastures, out in the Flint Hills, the Osage and places like that, foothills of the Rockies, they've likely already bought their cattle. They're just kind of warming them up, making sure they're all ready to turn out, so they can hit the ground running, especially in the Flint Hills on those double stock pastures, which are all leased. They've got 90 days to put weight on out there, and they've got to make hay. They're not going to turn something out there that's not ready to really go with some early compensatory gain and then a lot of frame to grow out and put a lot of pounds on while they're out there. But those cattle, it's just fun to drive up through that Kansas Turnpike and watch those cattle explode on that powerful grass there. But how about some big sales late in the week? Fort Scott, Kansas had over 2,000 head of feeders there on Saturday. Feeders $4 to $8 higher if you looked at the automated market report, and calves were as much as $10 higher. But look at these impressive load lots out of Fort Scott, Kansas there that sold on Saturday. Now this is after your cattle on feed report, after your board and everything, on a day that not a lot else is going on. But very impressive on these feeder steers. And if you look at that middle one, the most impressive for me as far as I'm concerned, 58 head, 914 pound steers bring $130 in Fort Scott, Kansas on a Saturday. Now we would have struggled to get a 130 for some 800 pounders a week before, but this thing's really started to come around a little bit. How about winter livestock auction? Winter, South Dakota had a really good sale there. But the best that I saw on them was on some bigger cattle. They were selling calves really well too. 5-weight calves way up in the 180s, but pretty good deal. How about Lamona livestock auction, Lamona, Iowa there? Jason Allen, Jared Miller, they had a great sale. I get information from all different ways. I get automated through Cattle Market Central. I use the government report some, but a lot of times it's just texted to me or sent to me like this. But Jason Allen sent me these big quotes out of there, and you look at the biggest that I saw was on some Jim Modus cattle there, 56 head, 862 pound steers at 135.5. But the best and highest quotes that I saw anywhere late last week indeed come out of winter livestock, winter South Dakota. 3 loads of these big steers weighing just over 1,000 pounds bring 129.25. That's your feeder flash for Monday.